Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Management, a VUCA perspective. We are discussing core concepts, and now we are into the 17th module in this amazing and very invigorating series. I am your tour guide and your friend for the entire journey, Siddhi Bhattacharyya. In the words of the doyen of Indian advertising, Piyush Pandey, who's chairman and chief creative officer Ogilvy, he says, in a world of fleeting moments, one bond remains unbreakable. No prizes for guessing what we are going to discuss today. We are going to discuss one of the most iconic brands which has been evolved in the Indian scenario, the brand which keeps bonds together unbreakably, unshakably, Fevicol. So, when we get into something which builds brands further, the first and most immediate requirement is to understand nuance. When you get to understanding nuance, you understand how culture moves a particular country's ethos, its thought processes, the people within. And therefore, you simplify that particular message which helps the consumer and the brand connect at a very deep fundamental level. So, the deeper the level, the more strong the bond between brand and consumer. So, we are going to add to the case today by looking at Fevicol from Pidilite Industries. Fevicol is something which epitomizes the iconic bond in all of adhesives inside of India. And for over 5 decades, Fevicol has been the flagship brand of Pidilite Industries. It has cemented an extraordinary legacy in Indian households. It is a very every household name, and so therefore people swear by this particular brand of adhesive. The case study explores how Fevicol created this remarkable brand equity, fostered unwavering customer loyalty, expanded strategically through ingenious brand extensions, and deployed powerful marketing communications, and so therefore it made something which is iconic and synonymous with adhesives across of all India. And it has currently a 80% commanding market share despite intensifying competition across the board. It gives you a certain amount of market dominance which stands as a testament to its exceptional business capabilities and uncovers the innovative approaches that establish this remarkable brand and reveal how it continues to thrive and evolve as something which works inside of a price sensitive and extremely competitive marketplace. So, without further ado, we jump right into the Fevicol story. Why are we analyzing Fevicol as a brand? You look at how you can identify brand equity drivers. This is one learning we'll take out of it. What are the essential elements that elevated Fevicol to its remarkable brand capability in the Indian market, and it has done this consistently over 50 years. So, that is a significant amount to hold its own as pole position in the market. We also examine the customer relationship strategy because at the end of the day, business is fueled by customer demand, and hence this systematic approach is what we need to understand in the fullest of details, and how to build and sustain meaningful customer connections throughout the entire value chain. So, it is internal customers, it is external customers, it is your entire logistics, your delivery, your retail, all of these factors come in, product lines come in, portfolio management comes in. So, there are lots of factors which come into play in this entire scenario. How you assess the brand extensions impact, because we've studied these things theoretically. Now, let's see something which has happened in real life and see how these brand extensions got deployed, and because of this deployment, they reinforced the dominant market position for the brand. And finally, evaluate how marketing communications, because now we've discussed a variety of items when it comes to product thinking, the services. We are now getting into the nuance of how communication with the end consumer actually enhances this entire experience. So, integrated marketing strategies are what we'll get into, and these have consistently delivered how Fevicol's powerful brand narrative has happened to diverse audiences, because India itself is a very, very diverse marketplace. So, taking that one single unified message and making it simple enough to understand for all of the mini parts that constitute India is a very, very towering exercise. So, that is the exploration for today. What are the key questions one must keep in mind to address this entire scenario? First and foremost, does your brand actually connect? Does it have resonance with the end consumer? Does your product deliver? Does the promise of the product being delivered resonate with the people? And how are they actually looking at the brand evolving to the next level of capability? So, how has Fevicol actually forged profound emotional connections with the customer segments through its 5-decade-long market journey? Then, brand equity development, where strategic initiatives and marketing approaches have propelled the Fevicol story to get extraordinary brand equity positions in the Indian adhesives market. Then, looking at stakeholder relationship excellence, where Pidilite, the master brand holder, the organization, it has had relationship management strategy at its core. So, that has helped Fevicol endure all of these things and consistently provide value to the complete adhesives business ecosystem. And finally, how are they ready for what is coming next? So, therefore, the future competitive positioning. Innovative marketing strategies are required here to keep yourself abreast and ready from whatever the challenges the future has to throw in the mix. So, it strengthens its leadership against emerging and regional competition which is coming its way, and also customer preferences keep evolving. So, you have to stay abreast of those as well. So, with all these things in mind, we will look at the Fevicol instance. Now, the main challenge here was maintaining that particular market leadership, because gaining leadership can be one particular nuance, it can be one particular instance in the entire timeline of a brand. But once you've attained that particular pole position, how do you stay there? How do you keep it consistently going for decades on end? So, Fevicol has become that one particular case study in India. It commands an extraordinary 80% market share, which is phenomenal in any category, and especially in the adhesive market, where very, very fundamentally unbranded commodity based items are also there in the product market, and then there are very sophisticated products as well. So, how does it establish itself as the undisputed industry leader, and that too for decades, is a big challenge to overcome. The brand has masterfully cultivated an unshakable recognition across the entire ecosystem, and nothing bonds as strongly as Fevicol is something which has stayed true to its core brand promise and messaging. This has been translated in various ways, but the core offering has not differed too much. It has stayed in that particular space, it has stayed consistent, and people have come to believe that Fevicol is the ultimate when it comes to adhesives, especially in India. There have been emerging threats, there are regional competitors which have gained steady momentum, and there are also implementing aggressive trade incentives, because if you can't beat them at the product game, then you try and beat them at the value and the pricing game. So, here they have also deployed strategic pricing models to appeal to cost conscious buyers, which is also part of the entire strategy to keep your brand up there. Fevicol also faces a strategic risk of market complacency, because once you are established as the market leader, then a certain sense of complacency tends to creep in, and you are not doing enough innovation to stay relevant. So, that is also a challenge which Fevicol has masterfully addressed. And in that evolving landscape, you have increased customer price and market dynamics are also changing. All of these factors explain how volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous the market can be. and marketers need to be constantly aware of changing scenarios. So hence, constant refrain is going on in people's minds that you have to stay alert in a VUCA world to survive. How was it crafted? Let's work from there. In 1954, the birth of Fevicol actually happened. Visionary entrepreneurs B.K. Parekh, he transformed the industry by introducing a revolutionary synthetic adhesive for carpenters. This was something which would actually get the bonds done quickly. It would dry up and it would stay very, very strong. And it elegantly replaced the starch-based glues, which were not very capable prior to this, and they were also prone to insect attacks and various other things which would lead to decay over time. And this is the one which has dominated for centuries. So this was what was eroded by the entry of Fevicol. In the early years, the company orchestrated extensive nationwide trials with master craftsmen, and methodically it built trust and overcame the deep-rooted resistance to change, because Indians typically fall back upon culture when it comes to anything that is new. So the benefit has to far outweigh whatever is being done at present, and that is only when habits actually change. And this also has to happen across the wide swath of cultures, regions, languages and such like. So that was a very, very uphill task for the makers. And therefore, you had to also establish a foundation of credibility behind whatever your product and brand was, and this would define the brand's future. So all of these aspects came into play when it was the consideration of Fevicol as a brand. A logo was created, and since then, Ogilvy and Mather, the advertising agency, has stuck with Fevicol as its consigliere, as somebody who whispers inside the ear of the master and gets things done at the grassroots level. Their design, their communication, everything has had the print of Ogilvy throughout. All their campaigns have been iconic ones, and Ogilvy has won many accolades because of these campaigns. The iconic dual elephant was born as a powerful symbol because elephants were seen as a sign of strength. And its first Rajkumar Hirani based ad, where a block of wood was stuck together with Fevicol and was being pulled into two directions by two very, very large and imposing elephants, is where the entire conversation really started. And the bond which Fevicol was able to derive into wood making and craftsmanship was established with that particular ad. This showed the bonding strength, and because of this, the inseparability of that particular wood is something which got implemented in people's minds. And at that point in time, the cultural understanding of how loads were pulled and how beasts of burden and people actually were doing this kind of job was brought into the cultural context of the narrative which was put inside the ad. That typically helped people to understand that there was a show of strength, and a very clear one at that. The implementers of adhesives would be the people who would deal with adhesives on a day in, day out basis, and therefore the community came primarily and front of center into consideration, the carpenters. The carpenters were the people who would pick the product up. They were the ones whose recommendations would do best in the consumer market as well, and their conformance to the brand was something which the brand was pursuing very, very hard. So the first thing that they did was they created a Fevicraft design book in 1980. This was a quarterly publication directed at the craftsmen, because the craftsmen were obviously people who put wood pieces together to create something, but it was also a way to showcase their skill and their art in their daily work. And this featured furniture blueprints that elevated the carpenters from being menial laborers to being design consultants, because they created something which was exquisite. And Fevicol facilitated that particular journey, and hence it reached a state of craft rather than just a skill which was being utilized to put wood pieces together. Then they had a color version of the same come out in 1985. Through vivid color printing technology, they actually pushed life into that particular example. Carpenters were able to present stunning furniture visualizations which actually were their ticket to fame. And these interior concepts captivated the clients and their imagination and translated into tangible designs and obviously work for carpenters. Going further, they had a hardbound furniture book which became almost like a coffee table book, and this became a durable design encyclopedia, and it was a treasured workshop asset because workshops of note kept this as a Bible, and it was a referral point for carpenters to actually show how their smithing took from what the masters had to say in the profession. It also established the certain amount of professional credibility and served as the reference for furniture craftsmanship for the people in the trade. And Fevicol design ideas was an evolution from there, came about in 2015, and it pioneered a sophisticated phygital engagement because digital and physical both were coming together, and the exploration of this was something which industry, trade and the professionals all welcomed across the industry, and it created a dynamic ecosystem where master carpenters connected seamlessly with the developers, designers and homeowners, and it gave unprecedented business growth opportunities for both trade and for the skilled craftsmen. What were the core product advantages of putting Fevicol in the mix? It first and foremost was obviously when it was conceived, it was revolutionary, it was synthetic, so it did not have the erosion of outside elements which typically starch glue had. And because of that, it surpassed any starch glue or animal glue, and the cleaner application, durability and bonding strength was significantly higher, and so the durability of the produced woodwork, craftsmanship, the furniture was also increased. Industry wise, it was absolute gold because recognized universally as the benchmark for adhesive excellence. It gave consistent quality, reliability and unmatched performance, something as a product it achieved, and so therefore there was nothing which could take that credit away from it. It was unmistakably the leader in what it did. Also, the entire approach was very trade centric, so they ensured that trade pushed this out in front of the takers, which in this case were the works people, and so therefore local sales helped provide personalized service and implemented strategic policies that contributed to trade growth and prosperity, automatically having a trickle down effect to all the people who used the product. There was unparalleled trust in the entire thing, and brand loyalty was established through the entire ecosystem by consistently exceeding the expectations when it came to product delivery, and every promise was met. So all of these things came to the favor of the brand Fevicol. Pidilite Industries overall as an organization was founded in 1959 by Balwant Parekh, and he was the one who pioneered the innovative adhesive solutions category inside India. Currently, the market cap is about 303,000 million in terms of rupees. This is a huge market valuation reflecting the investor confidence and industry leadership position. 34 sub-brands operate within the larger Pidilite offering, and there is a diverse portfolio and industrial brands are there serving multiple market segments. It has grown from that one core product of Fevicol, but now they have roofing solutions, they have waterproofing solutions, they have craft for home usage and a variety of other offerings which completely cover all their synthetic solutions set. In terms of operating profit, they are also again very well capable of taking things forward, about 11,640 million rupees in their operating profit. So that again huge financial strength when it comes to the ability of the organization to hold against future competition. Business divisions were created and revenue contribution was also signaled from there. There are adhesives and sealants, which is one segment which has about 65 of total company revenue, because this is the main core product and its offshoots, and that is where the main bulk of the revenue for the organization comes in. And Fevicol, the master brand which was created, is now a household name, and that helps them establish that market leadership and consumer trust for over that 50-year period. So therefore, all of these factors and any and every offshoot has a Fevi component in the branding, thereby creating a direct connect back to the master brand as well. Again, they have expanded into home usage, art materials and stationery. So they have created the natural extension in terms of product lines as well. And here premium art supplies are part of what they put out their offer. This goes to educational institutes, professional artists and DIY enthusiasts across any and every skill level. Then construction materials are there, which builds protection against advanced surface enhancement technologies. And they can do, like we spoke of, DPC, waterproofing and a various amount of rust removal, etc. So there are lots of products which they've brought in the construction chemical space. Again, pigments and synthetic resins are another segment which they have forayed into, and these are precision engineered industrial components and are critical to manufacturing supply chains. So these formulations enable automotive finishes, commercial printing and textiles. So a lot of varied product offerings have come about, but all from that core of chemical composition and chemical engineering, which is where the brand started its foray from. Overall, their market growth has been signaled every single year, and in the Indian industry, the adhesives are growing with the population growing and the demand as well, and that is precisely what they have also tracked in their entire activity. Now, there are lots of players in the adhesive market, and that leads us to a point where there is intense competition going forward. So, Pidilite Industries definitely is the market leader, and they have that 80% market share, which is how they are the big bull in the China shop. But beyond this, they have got a very strong Fevicol brand, which ensures that people look up to what Fevicol is doing, and its moves are then copied by others in the market. They have a diverse portfolio of adhesive products to boot. On top of these, both industrial users and consumers are looking towards it, and there is exceptional customer loyalty going forward. And this literally has insurmountable competitive advantage as of now. There are close competition players coming in. For example, Henkel Technologies has come in. It is a formidable global player and it has robust B2B presence. So it has its own internationally renowned Loctite brand, and it has a strategic alliance with Asian Paints, another big player in India. So they are into the paint segment, and Loctite from Henkel is sold with the Asian Paints banner. This has also revolutionized its retail distribution capabilities, because Asian Paints again is a market leader when it comes to paints as a category. Again, a brand which was supported throughout by Ogilvy in its campaigns and in its advertising. This has also dramatically enhanced market penetration for Henkel, and it goes through India's urban centers, and previously underserved rural territories have also been reached out to. So they are catching up and breathing down the market leader's neck. Then there is Jubilant Agri, which is a versatile and agile competitor offering comprehensive product portfolio. It has Jeevan Jor, Vamicol and Hero, which are similar adhesive brands taking the fight to Fevicol. It has 600 plus distributors and 15,000 plus retail partners, and they are quickly catching up with whatever the distribution spread of Pidilite is. They have now a 10% market share, and they are providing fierce competition from the industry giants. So the new entrants and competitive threats are actually shaking the market up a bit. Asian Paints True Grip Ultra is one particular innovation like that. This is also a synthetic resin adhesive, which is meticulously formulated to directly challenge Fevicol's long-standing dominance in the woods-based substrate market. It has the power of Asian Paints' extensive nationwide distributor network and 36,000 hardware retailers who actually help put that product immediately into market circulation and give it a rapid customer acquisition model. Similarly, the Henkel version which we are talking about has strategic co-branding alliance with the transition Loctite with Asian Paints and gives a highly profitable consumer segment inroad for the brand. They also have Loctite Quick, which provides instant bonding. They have Rapid, which gives superior strength, and Tough, which gives exceptional moisture resistance. So they have created the necessary product lines basis which the demand also grows for these subsets. They have a cutting edge manufacturing facility near Karkumb in Pune and Western India, and it ensures unwavering quality standards and seamless supply chain integration for the brand. Now, with all of this, it all boils down to understanding who the customer really is and what is it that is going to affect that particular customer's movement for the entire offering set and the industry at large. So, they constantly are looking at a superior value proposition because value is what moves Indians, and so therefore they are looking at unmatched bonding and strength and durability as the core components of what works magic for that particular adhesive category. This is what fosters deep customer loyalty and trust across the entire marketplace. The critical functionality, because it at the end of the day is a product which has to deliver on the bond created, it requires the adhesive represent only 2% of total craftsmanship investment. So, the rest of it comes from various other products and attributes which the craftsman has to look at, and it safeguards the remaining 98% by ensuring the structural integrity, because the 2% is so critical that the rest 98% won't work without that little 2% adhesive inclusion. It also extends the lifespan of finished woodworking projects, and so therefore, it is something which is indispensable. In terms of skill development, because skill is one particular area where the craftsmen need this on an ongoing basis. They have a year-round training program which empower craftsmen to build professional networks alongside their entire body of work and gives them cutting-edge technologies and techniques that significantly expand their capabilities and the value that they can get for the jobs they do in the market. So, it makes them not only employable, but it also makes them highly skilled and valued. And then there is a direct feedback loop where the dedicated sales team builds lasting relationships with local carpenters and they demonstrate innovative products and gather critical insights, because problems are arrived at which can arise from a variety of things. It can arise from quality of product, availability, it can be subsidiary products which work in tandem with the main adhesive, ecological and environmental considerations, market realities, etc. There are a various number of things that can affect the life and business livelihood of any craftsman. This part showcases how empathy from the brand side truly works in improving the way the craftsman is employable. Because they are employable, their ability to put that particular product into use and excel from it is something which the organization also benefits from, and that is typically how they look at creating the entire scenario for them. The product packaging is also an excellent way to push forward the product's capabilities in front of the using community. So, the original design which came about, it had pioneered the packaging showcasing two elephants as the logo and established the Fevicol distinctive visual identity. The call to strength which Fevicol had, it created immediate brand recognition across diverse markets, but it was also equally well understood across the length and breadth of India, because elephants are a symbol of strength and they are very common to all parts of India. So, everybody understands the need for strength, and they also understood what the elephant signified. So this particular original design was something which percolated all throughout India. Then in 1980s there was an update where strategic redesign preserved essential brand elements while they modernized the aesthetics and kept it contemporary. This also effectively met the consumer expectations and emerging design trends and ensured that the product was looking like it is of today and not something which only old fogies would be using. And again in 2002 there was a revamp where Plus One design got in and reinvigorated the brand through bold color palettes and improved the visual hierarchy and increased the shelf presence for the brand. The 2002 landmark redesign was very important because it transcended mere visual updates and fundamentally reimagined both the iconic logo and the physical container architecture. So both these aspects created for something which was contemporarization in the industry. And this is extremely important for a market leader to do, because the market leader is not only a market share leader, they're also thought leaders. So whatever innovation has to happen from the market leader's end, because without that they will lose their first mover advantage edge. And this is something which Fevicol has consistently been doing. They have got a much more sophisticated profile featuring an ergonomically engineered handle, and it has significantly enhanced the user experience, because at the end of the day, if the user is better able to apply the product and use it in their everyday work, then it enhances their capability to produce something which is lasting and beautiful. And this provides this perfect balance between innovation and heritage. So it keeps the two elephants in place, but gives them a new way to explore the storage, the usage and all these factors, and maintains Fevicol market relevance and preserves the identity, because identity gives you continuity across generations, and it also engenders that particular trust which has been built over decades. So this is also something which helps customers recognize the product very clearly and very quickly, and that has come to their aid overall. Now, they have also gone into the stationery and craft segment, because children and whatever they use in school is stuff which comes in from the brand, and therefore they have astutely recognized the untapped potential to exert the Fevicol established brand in the school space. The product development meticulously formulated Fevicol MR, which is for school usage and craft usage. It balances strength and safety and specifically is tailored for students, hobbyists and home users, acquiring versatile adhesive solutions for usage. Again, in terms of the distribution expansion, earlier they were only limited to the craftspeople. Now, because of the diverse materials, it can do a lot of other varied stuff and get into the stationery space as well, and has reached a different supply format as well for the brand to be visible to direct consumers. That has also expanded the consumer experience part of things, where there are direct to consumer touch points that showcase Fevicol's performance, and the emotional brand connections are deepened over time. So this establishes loyalty across generations of users. Then there is Fevicol Champions Club. Here, since 2002, the Fevicol Champions Club has served as a prestigious platform for skilled craftsmen and contractors, and they build a networking and meaningful professional connections over this particular event and advance their connections and advance their careers in the entire activity. It strengthens member loyalty, and the strategic initiatives include spiritual pilgrimages, specialized skill development workshops, family development workshops, family inclusive celebrations, and they also put in community service programs like Shramdan Divas, which is Day of Labor, and Vriksharopan Divas, which is the tree planting day. So these things accentuate whatever the organization does, and this can be looked at as grassroots level branding and CSR. So this expands the number of people and their kind of engagement with that particular brand. These carefully designed experiences have created powerful emotional bonds with the Fevicol brand and give rise to trust and authentic respect for this entire community, for the brand at large. This has actually helped build the community and loyalty. So, you have got about 45,000 plus contractors who have come into play across 196 nationwide locations. Then you have got about 19,120 trees planted, and this gives environmental initiatives by the brand a powerful boost. And of these, about 15,350 are dedicated by FCC members themselves. In 2002, this was established and it has already created 2 decades of fostering the professional brotherhood as a continuous system. This has created a powerful platform where carpenters and contractors enhance their technical expertise, cultivate professional networks and forge enduring relationships. So, together they strengthen their emotional connection with the legendary Fevicol brand. Now, in terms of market challenges for customer retention, at the base of it is something which came about from the product reliability aspect. It was an excellent product, an excellent substitute for starch-based and animal-based glues, and gave unmatched durability and performance to start with. On top of these things, you built in multi-generational fan following through the communications, through the activities, engaging the craftspeople and later the other communities, and you got multi-generational fan following for the brand. And finally, you've got thought leadership where you've got it translating into brand leadership, because they have now become synonymous with adhesive as a category. Few of Indian brands, or few of brands in India rather, are in that particular space where they have actually reached a certain amount of synonymity with the category itself. So, they have become almost commoditized names. One other example of this is Surf. Now, Surf is a detergent from the brand Unilever, and Surf has become equal to detergent in common consumer parlance. So, you may ask for a cheaper detergent, but you will say, I want a lower priced Surf. It's similarly used in the case of Xerox. Now, Xerox is the synonym for photocopying. So, wherever you go, you see people using different kinds of machines, but they say, let's get a Xerox done. So, photocopying as a word, as a parlance is not that prevalent, but Xeroxing is something which people more often than not are putting up. Even in very unbranded ways, they put this up in front of their shops where photocopying is happening. So, brands reaching that particular stature are able to drive conversation so well that consumers use that brand name for the parlance of what is being done by that commodity. So, it's got commanding brand presence, and the company confronts significant hurdles in high price sensitive markets where consumers frequently sacrifice quality for cost. There is a downside to it as well, and there are choosing cheaper unbranded alternatives. Now, the challenge here is to showcase the invisible ingredient, which is the nature of adhesives, and once the construction is complete, the adhesive literally leaves no visible trace in the finished woodwork. So, these are aspects which the communication thereafter covers and creates that point of differentiation in the before-after story, and that is how it pushes the piece of trust and reliability on the brand. And it creates a unique market distortion where some carpenters capitalize on Fevicol's reputation by falsely claiming to use the premium product to enhance the credibility and justify higher service fees, while actually employing inferior alternatives. So, there is a point of differentiation, and this becomes the philosopher's stone. It becomes the testing point from which you can actually gauge whether what has been promised has been actually delivered by the carpenter themselves. So, with that, they have also taken into consideration the pricing and distribution going ahead. They have kept it premium compared to whatever else is available. They have taken that higher price point to reflect the quality, the mental and psychological positioning that this will not compromise with quality is what is conferred through that particular higher price pointing, and it also establishes brand prestige. So it gives that if you want the best, this is the brand which will give you that particular kind of output. So the premium pricing reinforces Fevicol's market position as the definitive benchmark for adhesive excellence. No other competitor can even come close. And strategic retailers implement loss leader pricing and offers Fevicol at competitive margins to attract high plywood customers. So why do they do that? Because the sheer bulk of sales which happens because Fevicol is picked up so well is something which offsets their margin requirements, because there is huge churn of product and it takes off the shelves very easily. They also have a very strong distribution network, and this is comprehensive and meticulously orchestrated, and so therefore it spans the entire Indian subcontinent. You've got various manufacturing facilities which lead to carrying forwarding agents who have distributors waiting for these, who send them to retail partners, and finally they reach end consumers. So it is very meticulously structured and it follows that particular forward moving path. They have pioneered the Rurban division, which is a rural plus urban thought process. Why so? Because they have systematically penetrated untapped semi-urban and rural markets through this approach, and they are generating substantial revenue growth opportunities from the entire exercise. Salesforce wise, they are also excellent at their work, and they have a very strong selection criteria. They recruit top talent and exceptional initiative and intrinsic motivation based people, and these demonstrate authentic pride in representing the premium adhesive solution. Also, like we've discussed before, training. Comprehensive training is something which is what all the top brands will get into, and rigorous programs that equip teams with in-depth product and compelling value propositions enhance the customer support capabilities and the techniques that are there, and with that they have problem solving authority. So they empower representatives to make real-time decisions and address customer needs very promptly, and they build trust and cement long-term brand loyalty as they go forward. Relationship wise, they actually create meaningful connections with plywood retailers and end users and develop the network required of brand advocates throughout the industry to ensure that their work gets done. Also, once they have tasted success in the Indian subcontinent, they have exploded internationally as well. They've now got a global footprint in 14 countries across 6 continents and have advanced manufacturing hubs in Bangladesh and Egypt, and they have a planned entry in Sri Lanka where they have global presence and supply chain resilience. In terms of R&D, they have centers in Singapore, which is a prestigious member of the Singapore Chemical Industry Council. And with this, they are giving breakthrough adhesive technologies tailored for diverse global applications. Locally, they have also adapted. So how are they managing this? They have got a global approach, which is a global plus local thought process coming together, and they have accelerated market penetration and fostered strong customer loyalty worldwide. And throughout the entire process, integrated marketing communications has been at the core of what they are able to provide. In 1987, they launched their first campaign with visionary leaders like B.K. Parekh and M.B. Parekh, who partnered with creative maverick Piyush Pandey of Ogilvy and Mather to develop the unforgettable Dum Laga Ke Haisha. Now, Dum Laga Ke Haisha is a war cry of sorts when it comes to people who are doing menial labor, especially when they are pushing or pulling very heavy stuff. So, when they are doing hard labor, this is like a continuous beating drum war cry or rallying cry for laborers in India, and it is something which is understood and expected across the country, especially in the Hindi speaking belt. It is far more relevant as well. So, this is something which established the foundation for Fevicol's advertising legacy, and this featured the 2 iconic elephants pulling that block of wood apart in two different directions but failing at it. This then came to an iconic bus ad in 2002, where again Ogilvy got the Silver Lion at the Cannes Film Festival, and it created a masterful visual storytelling aspect for Fevicol. On 2009, in the 50th anniversary, they created a Mooch Wali film, which showcased how a mooch or moustache was fixed to a girl, and she grew up through her life having moustache on her face stuck because of Fevicol. So it was obviously hyperbole, but the hyperbole actually showcased what the brand's promise was of unbreakable adhesion, and that is what the brand played, and it captured the imagination of the people. Going further, in 2013 they got a silver MV with Fevicol groundbreaking free store experiential activation in Mumbai, where a shopping mall astonished people with wooden furniture items that were immovable. They were stuck to where they were, and this created a powerful real world extraordinary bonding strength and created the brand's ability to establish what it was going to provide in terms of product promise, and this got them a very coveted silver MV award. In terms of creative advertising as an approach, Fevicol and Pidilite have continuously pushed this particular brand in a very, very strong way. And throughout a signature, they have used rustic humor, because rustic humor connects with the rural audience best, but is easy enough for the urban audience to also laugh and enjoy. And the brand has elevated itself beyond traditional product marketing and forges cultural connections. See, culturally speaking, when you are able to establish yourself to that extent with people, then you are able to create iconic advertising. And iconicity is a testament to your ability to understand how people connect with you as a brand. This helps them sell across India, and there is a 30-year partnership between Fevicol and Ogilvy, and creative maestro Piyush Pandey has been, the core of the entire conversation which Fevicol has run, and this is what they have run through all their campaigns and all their combinations. For example, lines like "Wahi Mazboot Jod," Pani Mein Bhi launched their Fevicol marine product. So the Jod was the constant refrain of what their product would deliver. Now, various situations, scenarios, and plays of how it would actually work in the real world was what the imagination of the people was caught with when creative communications were delivered. So it provided humorous and accessible storytelling, which gave generations, and it transcended the socio-economic boundaries, and it gave a utilitarian product, something which was way beyond cultural traditions and became a touchstone for people to actually look at. Now, in terms of innovative marketing events, it has done a lot of things like the Mumbai Marathon stunt, where in 2013, participants donning Fevicol branded attire executed a brilliantly choreographed standing run illusion, because they were stuck in place almost like they were running, but because it was Fevicol, they were not moving. So this convinced about the mid-stride stuck, because it was glue which was doing the magic. So stunts like these were actually showcased, and people got a lot of flavorful humor out of it, and the connect with the brand was constantly reinforced. They've got also awards for excellence, where through substantial scholarships and mentorship opportunities, they have created those opportunities for emerging talent and positioned the brand as an integral partner in the professional journey. So here the thought leadership aspect is something which also comes in a big way. So thought leadership is the burden of the market leader to carry, and they have to constantly innovate and showcase this to people. They've also got Pidilite Knowledge Series, which showcases how the leadership actually looks at various visionary architects and their understanding of how woodwork should actually enhance a particular space. So it gives them cutting edge techniques and it becomes the main compendium of knowledge from which others can actually take inspiration from. They also had a digital platform which was launched in 2013 and Fevicol Design Ideas became the ecosystem from which design could be taken up and it would provide inspiration for a lot of other designers, craftspeople and such like. In terms of extensions and innovation, they kept going at it. For example, Fevicol Marine, which we spoke of, it was a waterproof formula, the synthetic adhesive that would work underwater as well. It was subjected to durability testing to ensure that there was enough stress bond creation even underwater and in grinding very dire scenarios. So it had a 48-hour complete water immersion and it came out shining at the end of that particular test. It had excellent market success and it created a year-on-year growth that now is covered under the Fevicol SH flagship product and it has specialized applications. It is created for demanding environments where there is a lot of water infusion in that environment. For example, kitchens, bathrooms, outdoor furniture, wherever there is a sudden or unexpected inflow of water but must be contended with. So that is where the engineering really takes care of these challenges at a ground level. Then you have various other additional brand extensions like SpeedX. The SpeedX revolutionizes workshop efficiency with 2-hour handling strength and it enables faster project completion when there is the need to quickly get on to the next task and it optimizes the resource utilization and enhances the overall productivity. Then there is Fevicol SH Extra. So it is under the flagship Fevicol SH and it features initial capabilities and substantially it accelerates during the entire process to superior craftsmanship results. So this is what they've got. Again, they have got specialized adhesives. These have contemporary materials and including PVC sheets. They get immaculate professional grade bonds for all these materials. And obviously the joints can't be seen, so the entire output is exceptional when it comes to a visual standpoint. Customer driven innovation has also been part of what they have developed. So here you will see extensive market analysis happening and research bringing a lot of feedback back to the core brand and they have proactively addressed all these industry needs and preferences and they have continuously introduced products which are going to solve industry challenges. In terms of Indian furniture market growth, you would have seen that the home furniture is the biggest segment followed by office furniture. Then there is some which is institutional and various other miscellaneous things that keep going on from there. Fevicol has managed to cover all of these with its varied offerings. So we can look at what the standing for Fevicol currently is. In terms of strength, they really have that dominant market leadership pole position. They have exceptional brand recognition and deep customer loyalty and they have a fantastic distribution network that covers urban and semi-urban areas. Also, comprehensive and innovative product portfolio is something which they are pushing out there with diverse applications and they have powerful carpenter engagement through the Fevicol Champions Club initiative. Weaknesses wise, they are at a premium pricing, so they tend to get undercut by other players, but they make up for it with quality. So this is one aspect. Then they have conservative credit policies that disadvantage the company against competitors who are more willing to go the extra mile when it comes to trade. So this is one particular point of contention and there is a certain risk of market complacency because you are the market leader and by a huge margin. So hence it can come from long-term market dominance and therefore they constantly keep looking at shaking things up for themselves. Opportunities wise, they have capitalized on rapidly expanding furniture market which has a 26% CAGR growth between 2014 and 19 and it has already moved into that space and married itself to the production of furnitures. Then it has also got a lot of potential in rural and semi-urban markets and that is also something they have tapped into. substantial expansion possibilities exist in Asian and African markets where they have started expanding their output towards. And finally, specialized adhesives which are eco-friendly, because again you have a scenario where you need sustainability. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to being aware of your scenarios, and that situation awareness keeps you ready for eventualities in a VUCA world. Threats wise, they've got competition coming their way, and distributor loyalty at times becomes flexible, and it wanes because of the credit terms and incentives which competition can woo them with. Then you've got strategic partnership between two major players, Asian Paints and Henkel, and so that can become a formidable competition for them. Price erosion from aggressive regional players targets specific market segments, but they have tried to counter that with showcasing the quality for end result outputs. And customer preferences can also shift because new material technologies are coming in which require different adhesive solutions, and there are other challenges which can come in, like 3D printing, for example. So 3D printing can form a particular product straight by printing it out, which completely obliterates the need for adhesives. Now, they are a chemical manufacturing company, so hence if adhesives is one particular chemical output, they can look at utilizing chemical capabilities to do other kinds of productive output, which can then use 3D printing as a particular technology. So, being aware again of your scenarios helps you to deal with systemic changes in what is happening around the world. So, there are current recommendations in terms of marketing strategies. You can increase your credit options and make it more flexible so that trade responds to you favorably. You can strengthen your community engagement, give that Fevicol Champions Club more teeth, you increase training workshops and give tiered loyalty awards. You can also gamify the system. So, efforts result in awards. So, there is effort and reward management which is better for the organization, and that also helps them accelerate rural penetration, because that is when the next stage of growth will come from, and continuing product innovation will keep them in the play with market leadership at their back. So, in all, there is a Fevicol success formula. There is continuous innovation at the base of it, and it adapts itself, anticipating market shifts, and it has agile product development to meet those challenges. You've got a community which keeps forging authentic partnerships with carpenters and distributors, because they are the voice of the brand and take it to the last mile. And then you create resonance which forges emotional connections that transcend product functionality and make it culturally relevant for people to constantly believe in that particular brand. So, Fevicol has done already a significant amount of work to build its credentials as the market leader, and it has not much of an uphill task from here, but they have to constantly keep innovating, stay away from being complacent, and ensure that they defend their hard fought and hard won market leader positioning from here onwards. So, with that, we will get into brand narratives as we go forward in the next upcoming conversation. I'll see you then. Until then,
Hello and welcome to this piece of literary snippet. We usually know William Shakespeare as the most revered figure in the history of English literature. But we often tend to forget that he has also been one of the most hated figures in literature. And here I'm not talking only about those boys and girls who have to memorize long sections from Macbeth or King Lear or Julius Caesar before they can go and sit for their school or college exams. But I'm also talking about people who are themselves quite famous authors. Tolstoy, for instance, considered the writings of Shakespeare to be, and I quote, crude, immoral, vulgar, and senseless. George Bernard Shaw absolutely loathed Shakespeare, as he did Homer. But perhaps no other criticism about Shakespeare is more damaging than the one which says that Shakespeare is a marvelous storyteller, provided someone has told him the story earlier. Now, this piece of criticism is particularly damaging because it is true. None of Shakespeare's plays contain any original story whatsoever. They are all written using pre-existing materials, pre-existing stories. Now, does that diminish the stature of Shakespeare as a dramatist? Well, I'll leave that for you to decide. See you in the next episode of Literary Snippets.